This is Talking Chaos. I am the Condor, as always, and I'm here with my good friend, Fred. Say hi, Fred.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back.
So I've had an interesting night. I was dragged to, well, I shouldn't say dragged. I was invited to a friend of a friend's 29th birthday party. I'd never met him before, and I tend to go about things like this with enthusiasm. Like, hey, come out to this thing where you meet, no one except me, one person, and just like have a good time with us. They were doing some drinking. I'm not really a huge fan of drinking anymore, but I had a Smirnoff.
Ooh,
Right.
getting fancy.
I got loose on one of those malt beverages. But it was really interesting. There were a bunch of people. It was at a pig farm. Let me reiterate how strange that is. I don't spend a lot of time at pig farms. I'm not a pig farm enthusiast.
So it sounds like you were out in the middle of literally nowhere.
Yeah, I was pretty far from what I would call civilization. This is when I knew that I was in some shit. I heard the birthday boy say there's going to be a band. They're bringing a stage on a truck, and they're going to be filming their music video here.
Damn.
And then he adds, yeah, everybody else was kind of like you in the reaction. They were like, that's pretty cool. That's not really something that happens on everybody's birthday party.
Right.
And then the birthday boy says, I've never had the cops called to my house tonight. The goal is to get them here.
I'm not really sure that's a good standpoint to have as your, like, that's the mentality to go in with.
I know, it was pretty nuts. He was pretty coherent, even though I did see an entire bottle of Apple Crown totally get annihilated between him and the band in the matter of one sound break.
That's not too terrible.
It was like a pint. It wasn't like a fifth.
Oh, then that kind of takes that down a little bit. I mean, the badassery of
Yeah,
drinking.
it wasn't super crazy. There were a lot of medical flower enthusiasts there, which I appreciated.
Can I just take the moment to say, like, I understand that there are a lot of places where marijuana is not legal, or, I mean, is not encouraged, I guess, is the term. No,
Socially acceptable? Is that the word you're looking for?
There you go, socially acceptable. But, or even more to the fact of, like, the actual legality, it's not legal. But can we just call marijuana, like, weed, or fucking marijuana? It's a fucking plant. Let's just go with it.
Yeah, it's definitely, and in pig farm country, it's definitely an acceptable thing to be doing.
So instead of referring to it as grass or flower or whatever hippie term
Trees,
you want to use today.
Trees. I like trees. Let me get some of them trees. But no, it was a crazy. The band played really well. Apparently, it was one of the birthday boy's friend's father's band, and they moshed. I can't mosh anymore. I'm 30. I can't. I have joint problems. Like, I can't. And, like, if I fall down, I'm not getting up. It's gonna take a couple of people, and they're gonna be like stomping on me. It's no bueno. But
Gonna go into that and fucking, like, pull a hip or some shit.
yeah, the high point of the evening was definitely when Genghis John lit himself on fire. He's known as the human firecracker. That was the finale. Like, they lit a box of firecrackers, and this dude went up with them. Intentionally, it wasn't on accident.
Is he a professional? Did they have, like, a crew around him to, like, put him out, or did he just, like, fuck it, let's do this live?
I don't think he thinks he's good looking enough, so he was like, let's make things hotter.
Whoa, Jesus.
No, he said, and I quote, I haven't done this since October 13th, and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of confidence. I haven't done this in 9 months. I'm gonna go ahead and light myself on fire right quick here in front of you folks. Make a path. Make a path. I just I don't entirely understand how I get wrapped up in these situations. And it's not like I didn't have fun. I had a great time. But, like, how did the hell did I end up there? Like, I was at, quote, a metal show at a pig farm. In
A friend of a friend.
no, yeah, in the band name, this is probably just so to the point. The band's name was Hell If I Know from Nowhere, which, God, does that wrap up eloquently where the fuck I was. Fucking nowhere. I don't know. I'm an enthusiastic person when it comes to being offered a good time. And, like, you could tell me, like, hey, man, we're headed to this party. And if you tell me, like, there's going to be weed and chicks there, like, I'm sold. It's going to take very few things to commit me to, like, an adventure. I've ended up in some really strange situations. I may have mentioned that we moved my buddy's grandma to New Jersey on a whim. It took us 14 hours to do it, and I ended up in Manhattan for 6 hours.
What?
Yeah, totally true story.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was managing a Pizza Hut on the west side of the state that I live on, right near the beach. And my buddy calls me up. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm closing the store up. And he goes, you got a couple days off, right? I said, yeah, the next 2 days. He goes, I need you to do me a favor. I'm going to pay you a couple $100 to do this. I said, okay, I'm in. You got my attention. He said, I'm coming to get you right now. I'm leaving right now. Where he was at the time was roughly 3 hours away from me. So he gets to my place at 2 o'clock in the morning. We smoke a little bit, and then we take off. And we got back to his grandma's at 5 in the morning, packed up her entire house in a U-Haul, and then got on the road.
She must have lived light.
A lot of it was, like, pre-packed.
Okay.
But, like, me and my buddy had to move the furniture onto the U-Haul, and then the ladies handled the boxes. And so it was me and him, his girlfriend, and his grandma. And I rode with his girlfriend most of the way, and he drove the U-Haul with his grandma. And then 16 hours later, we got to New Jersey, where she was headed. We unpacked her whole house in her apartment, got her situated enough to sleep, and then we got a hotel room in, like, fucking nowhere, New Jersey. Probably where that band was from, frankly. So we wake up the next day with plans to, like, get on the bus and then go to New York and, like, spend the day, like, traversing the city as much as we can with the limited amount of money we have. I have a couple $100 I earned from moving this old lady. And I had just gotten paid for my other day job.
Nice.
So I had like $400 to play with, and I remember my girlfriend at the time was pregnant with my daughter, and she was like, if you spend all that money, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Wow.
So I ended up only spending a couple $100, which isn't bad for a trip to New York City.
Yeah, New York's fucking expensive.
But we got wrapped up in doing a bunch of other bullshit. Like his aunt lives out there, and that's why she was moving out there. And she, like, had us move a bunch of stuff up her walk-up apartment.
Jeez.
3rd floor is where she lived. It was a blast. It's so much fun moving 3 dressers up 5 flights of stairs for 6 hours. Mm-hmm. You remember that episode of Friends where Ross is like, pivot! Pivot! It was just like that. It was just like that, except my buddy is a far less tolerant Ross Geller.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, and that was an annoying moment, too, in that show. But it was just, well, we finally get done moving all these, like, furniture stuff up this lady's walk-up apartment, and she lived in Manhattan. So we got done, and we just, like, walked around Manhattan for a while. and we got lit in Central Park, which was a blast. And I even think we got caught by local like Central Park police. Like we saw the cop walking, and we could tell he was an officer because they've got like goofy hats on and stuff. Like they're really easily marked out. He was wearing shiny shit, and yeah, like badges and stuff, like shiny shit. So he starts walking up to us, and he's maybe like 15 feet away, 20 feet away. And we start like putting our shit away, and he's like, "Y'all can get back to what you were doing. This ain't no big deal out here." Like
Damn.
he fucking called us out. Yeah, like pegged us to the cork board, and then granted us permission. It was bizarre as all hell. I did not expect that to happen.
Just see, I see what you doing. You good?
Right, right. Like you ain't as slick as you think you are. I've heard that probably one too many times in my life. But have you gotten yourself in any like crazy ass adventures just by saying yes to some random ass shit?
Yeah. You know, I think the one that really comes to mind for me, I was actually I was working nights at the time, and I drove up to see one of our friends who lived about an hour away. She was still living in her college town, and
Right, in a dorm or like a house, something like that.
apartment, yeah. And so I go up there. I left Friday morning because I worked 11 to 7, which was fucking terrible. And I get up there at about roughly 8 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, "Hey, what are we doing today?" And she's like, "Oh, tonight we're going to a fucking EDM concert." And I was like, "Oh, cool, sure, why not? I'm in." And she goes, "Oh, by the way, me and my roommates are dropping acid. You're DD."
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
Time to go to work, Fred.
all right, fuck. Like, so not only are you sending me, like, this was also before the time where, like, GPS was very much, like, ingrained in everyone's phone. We didn't have the smartphone. It wasn't the smartphone era yet.
Back in the time when we still had atlases in cars.
Yes. And flip phones were a thing.
Oh man, this is going back some.
Yeah.
Straight up time traveling with the Warlock tonight.
And so I'm like, all right, so we get out there. I drive out to literally the middle of fucking, like, there's the best way to describe this is like we drove into a clearing in a fucking like woods, like forest thing. Like it's definitely cleared out, but there are trees surrounding. And I'm like,
Right, okay. So this was less of an EDM festival and more like a bunch of rednecks hired a DJ in the woods.
well, but there was like 3 different stages. So like this was actually properly set. Like there was one in a tent that had like apparently a fuck ton of lasers and shit. The people on acid loved it.
You can't not have lasers when people are doing acid. It's like keeping sugar from children. Like it's just uncalled for.
There was at least a 20-foot tall bonfire that was going, which,
Dear God.
oh yeah, it was great. And then
That's a fire, bro. Like you're talking about the Torch of Gondor here.
well, I mean, it had to be like 20 feet in circumference. Like the entire like bonfire was probably maybe 15, 20 feet in circumference, like, or diameter, no, circumference around, no, diameter around. My math skills are off. Shut up.
Yeah, no, circumference is round. Diameter is if you cut it in half.
Yeah,
Radius is from the center to the edge. Yeah, yeah. So like
so like,
you're straight up confusing everybody here.
all right,
Are you supposed to be a military man?
there's some math sometimes, you know, it happens.
Apparently the Warlock has had a lot of whiskey already.
Anywho, it was like this fire had to have been like 15 feet in diameter, 15 feet across, and was like burning at least 20, 25 feet tall. Like it was fucking ridiculous. And so we're out there till like 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, and then they're like, all right, like things are winding down. Let's get going. I was like, to where? I don't know where the fuck I am. And y'all can't really give me directions because you're all fucking like hallucinating.
Right. Yeah, that does present some problems when it comes to navigation.
Yeah. So I end up getting us like, all right, we're out of the woods-ish area. We get onto an actual like two-lane, two-track fucking
Is
road.
this metaphorical out of the woods, or are you like still in the woods with this whole thing?
There's a what was it? There was a cornfield on my right side and the like woods on my left. And I'm driving down this like two-track fucking like there's a shit ton of cars all like going the same direction. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna follow these people, hoping that they are all going the right way. And so I get to this. We all get to the stop sign. Two cars ahead of me, they go left. Car in front of me goes right, and I'm like, fuck, which way do we go? And I'm sitting there for
I was following the cars, damn it. Where do we go?
yeah, like I'm trying to follow traffic because clearly everybody's trying to go a certain place, and I'm just sitting here like I don't know where the fuck I am. And so the guy behind me starts honking. I'm like, all right, fine. And so I just make a left, which happened to amazingly be the correct direction.
Thank God.
I don't know if it was some wizard magic or what, but luck was on my side that night. we so we end up getting back on the road. We're headed back to their apartment, and next thing I know, they're like, "Hey, man, you need to get us McDonald's."
You goddamn right you do. No party is appropriate without a food stop at the end.
Well, and I'm driving, so I'm like, all right, so where's the next McDonald's? Like, I'm out, like, to paraphrase, I've been driving for maybe 10 minutes. We've got another 20 minutes to go before we're anywhere close to civilization, but they're like, hey, man, we need to hit a McDonald's, like, now.
Yeah, make one appear, you wizardy fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, all right, whatever. We're like the we'll get there when we get there type shit. Like you know how you see always in the movies the kids in the back. Are we there yet? Like, not yet. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, drunk people with food are worse.
And hallucinating people desiring food are even worse.
Oh, fuck yeah, because they're thinking like trees or fucking fries and shit as you're passing them.
Exactly. Like the driving past a cornfield. Hey, look, it's popcorn.
Not quite like that. I've never hallucinated popcorn.
Hey, I've never done those type of hallucinogens. I can't tell you exactly what they were seeing.
You got spells and shit for that. That's why you're a wizard. You can just like manifest a hallucination if you need to.
And that's really where that stays.
No, I don't. I'm really like I can't really drill into everybody's head enough that you really do like good things happen when you put yourself out there. Go with the flow and don't be so uptight about like
This
am I
has to
going to
happen, then
be
this has to happen, then this has to happen.
right and how much information that you need to know about like what's going on. Like I know a ton of people, like my mom is a great example of this. Like I don't think she could have handled a metal show at a pig farm. Not because she's almost 50. I mean that has a lot to do with it now, but at my age she wouldn't have done that. But at my age she also had like a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. So like I don't know. But she would have been like, who's the band? Where are they from? What are their names? Can I get like information on if they've had felony convictions? Right. I need background checks on everybody that's going to be at this party so that I know I'm safe.
Who are their roadies?
This band did not have roadies.
Man, they had a trailer brought in from a stage on a trailer brought in from somewhere.
It sounds like they had built the stage from scratch over the last 36 hours.
Jesus. Well, I mean, you saw the stage, I assume, so you have to have some sort of.
Yeah, it was very strange. Like, have you ever seen a flower truck?
Yeah, like a delivery truck. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but one of the short ones, the box ones, right?
Yeah.
So this was kind of like that. They built it on the back of a flatbed, and there was a box, but there was a door that swung up and then laid on the ceiling of the box.
Okay, so we're talking essentially like food truck style here.
Yeah, exactly. Except the door was so huge that you could see everything on the inside of the box now. And that was the stage because it was supposed to rain tonight. And although it didn't, they still played in the box on the truck box stage that they had manifested themselves over the last 36 hours.
The food truck box stage.
Yeah, something like that. Right. For hell if I know, the band from nowhere. Yeah, the truck box stage.
That, that sounds pretty incredible.
It was pretty nuts, actually. It's super, super, super weird. I still don't entirely. I just left this place not that long ago as we're recording this episode. And I'm still, I remember people coming up to me going, "Hey, have you seen the pigs yet?" And I'm like, "I don't want to see the pigs, man. I really don't want to see the pigs. I don't want to, make this any more real than it is." I'm afraid of what's going to happen if I look at the pigs. Are they going to turn into humans and, this is all going to magically disappear? Food box truck's going to go back to being a pumpkin? I don't want to ruin this.
Well, not only that, but so from my personal experience of growing out in fucking nowhere, where there was literally a pig farm as one of my next door neighbors, pig shit has a very distinct smell, and I mean, provided that you guys were smoking enough marijuana to actually be able to overpower that smell,
oh yeah, dude, it was skunky.
That's impressive and very, very probably beneficial to you, in all honesty.
Yeah, bro, it was hazy. You're at a pig farm and there's a metal show. You gotta smoke some weed. It just goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. But I think the real lesson to be learned from this is sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. Just, you know what?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I've ended up at comedy shows because of that. I've ended up at parties. And I had one Smirnoff. I was there for 5 hours. I was completely okay to drive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to describe to you how much weed I smoked because that probably put me over the limit. Legally.
Is there a limit legally?
Yeah, none. That's the limit. The amount of weed you're allowed to drive on is 0 amount. Anything more than that, you can go to jail for possession, hypothetically.
But it's legal in your state.
Not to drive with.
I mean, again, I don't know this. It's semantics. I don't know the exact legal.
I don't know what laws I should be admitting to on my own podcast either to breaking. So we're gonna probably call it quits there.
See if we can edit that smidgen out, maybe.
I'm not too concerned. I didn't admit to anything too crazy, and
allegedly.
Frankly, I'll give them props if they can prove to what day this actually happened, because this episode's gonna air sometime afterwards. Well, I think it's been a nice episode. Fred, do you want to
close us out?
Walk us out? Yeah.
As you to finish your hit.
It's been a long night, man. I gotta keep the party rolling.
Well, thank you for joining us. We'd appreciate it if you would, subscribe to our podcast, and it also would be great if you would contribute to our Patreon. But we appreciate the listen, and we look forward to talking to you next time. Thank you for joining us.